You're still on to Today with John and Helen on Plus TV Africa. Support organizations are everywhere. They cover all sectors. They are organizations that assist in emergency management activities by providing support in restoring essential services or carrying out functions of a humanitarian or technical nature.
Sounds like you went to school for that, Helen.
Ooh, somehow, John.
Okay, good. You really captured it all.
Thank you.
So, our first guest will help us with a global outlook, while Ferron, the lifestyle and wellness host, will take the task of breaking down sexual abuse support with her guest. Now, moving to the main conversation, which centers around support organizations, it's time to meet our first guest, who is in the thick of the business of rendering support to others, especially widows. Our guest is Apostle Eunice, wait for it, Oborevwori. She's a widow herself with 3 young adult children, a certified human resource practitioner and president, Zarephath Widows Welfare Outreach. Thank you for coming, madam. Correct the surname, please.
Thank you, John.
Yes.
My surname is Oborevwori.
Oborevwori.
Yes.
So easy.
Yes, very easy.
Yes.
But because of the V,
Yes.
so it's Oborevwori.
Oborevwori.
Thank you.
What does it mean? We're Africans. What does it mean?
Yeah, it's funny enough, it's an abbreviated name.
It's even
That one
abbreviated.
is-
Yes. I'm not sure you want to know the full name.
Please spell us.
So it typically means what you have is what disturbs you. What you have is what can hurt you. What you have is what can bless you.
Can be everything.
So it's just like saying that
What you have.
a member of your household is your trouble spot, so to say. Members
also
of your
your
household are your...
Can also be a blessing
Yes.
to you. Yeah.
So literally that's what it means.
That makes sense.
So a stranger cannot really hurt you the way a relative can hurt you,
Yeah.
so to say.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so
Makes
that's
a lot of
what it
sense.
means.
Okay, because
The abbreviated form.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so true. If you don't open the door
Thank
from
you.
the inside, nobody can access your
Absolutely.
home and your heart from the outside. John,
Absolutely.
Philosophical
I'm so deep this
Helen.
morning.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure, madam, having you on
Thank
our
you
show.
for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
so as we take on the role of support organizations on today's show, would like for you to start this way by defining that space for us, as a professional that you are. I have tried to do mine from the novice point of view. As a professional and a practitioner, kindly define what support organizations mean.
Okay, from my understanding, support organizations cater to, speak to, address the issues of the less privileged, the vulnerable in our midst. Regardless of where you're from, you will always have this set of people in your midst, in your communities. So support organizations are intentional ways of addressing the issues of these people, giving them a voice, so to say, having channels and structures in place to take care of them in the way that will not make them feel less human or less valued.
Okay.
I like that. And you see, the operational word there is intentional.
Sure.
Yeah, it's intentional, so that you gear all of your efforts towards a particular goal, providing a particular solution to peculiar needs. So that's the professional angle, and that's why we asked you.
That's why she's here.
That's why you're here. So that's
you.
the professional angle.
Thank you.
You will agree also that many people and perhaps groups, start off initiatives purely on maybe sentimental grounds and all of that. So tell me, how do they transit from sentiment to professionalism.
Thank you, John.
Does it sound like you?
Yes, I think a bit, yes. You can't deny the fact that sentiments are involved. When we talk about this category of people, when we talk about support organizations for vulnerable people, less privileged people, widows, orphans, the elderly, even some missions, emotions are involved. Because if the emotions are not involved, you won't have the passion for what you are doing or what you want to go into. So I think from my own perspective, it starts with emotions. It starts with your emotions being involved, being triggered. Your compassion being triggered towards these people. And maybe like for me, it was also triggered by personal experiences. So emotions are involved. But you can't stop with just emotions. You can't stop at sentiments. You can't stop at just the passion. You have to be professionally equipped. You have to be professionally equipped to do what you are doing. You have to study. You have to have emotional intelligence.
Yes.
You have to demonstrate emotional intelligence for you to be able to support optimally these people that we are discussing today.
Yes.
So I think it grows from emotion. It grows from emotions. It grows from your passion. It grows from compassion into emotional intelligence, into gaining some skills, counseling skills, involving the right people.
Okay. All right. So we know that you are the president, of one of those organizations and is registered by government.
Yeah.
Would like to know, how does government come in? What does government require, or what government requirement do we need to set up a support organization?
Okay, thank you, Ellen. My organization, Zarephath Widows Welfare Outreach, you just mentioned, is fully registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. And we went through the processes, the cumbersome processes of getting registered, certified, approved. Because, like I mentioned earlier, this all was triggered by emotions, by my passion, by compassion. Yeah. But I went a step further because of my professional background, certification. I am a certified human resources practitioner. Okay. And with that background, I decided that whatever I'm doing has to be certified by the government. And of course, it's already certified by God, because I got the backing of God before I started in a more intentional way. So I have to be certified with the law of the land. I have to get the proper certification to start doing what I'm doing professionally, not just being moved by emotions or by the whims of the day or how I feel per day.
Okay, so, you actually use the word cumbersome. Because for a lot of women, or for a lot of people, from personal experience, they would like to go into helping others, When you say cumbersome, how cumbersome is it? And is it likely to deter some people who would want to step into this shoe?
Absolutely, Ellen, absolutely. It's quite cumbersome because I understand that there are new regulations with the Corporate Affairs Commission, and it made it more cumbersome. I will just do a summary. Okay. First of all, you have to get the name approved.
Yes.
In my own case, by the leading of God, I got the name I actually got for the organization, for the outreach. When I sent it in, it was not approved. Okay, I prayerfully got another name. It wasn't approved. And these are not within 1 day, 2 days. Sometimes it takes like a week or sometimes 2 weeks before they come back to you that your name is not approved.
Not available.
Thank you, that's the word.
Yes.
Not available. You get another name, because I wanted to give up. I have to be very honest with you. I wanted to give up with the registration process. That let me just
beyond
do
the name?
Yes. Let me just do what I'm doing. So I think we did and my lawyer was very experienced and also very patient. He was even the one encouraging me, madam, bring another name. So we did it like 4 times, maybe the 5th time. The 5th one, it was even the one that got the name together. I said, please do what you need to do. And it was available. That is just one stage.
Yes.
Once the name was available, approved and signed, and we were given the go-ahead by the Corporate Affairs Commission, it went to the next stage of, I don't know the details. Those are legal stuff. It went to, they were doing their back stuff and getting everything approved. And it took a while. It took a while. I know that I will have to call my lawyer. What is going on? And he will give me some updates that I can share or I can share online. And they were not very, very encouraging stuff. So you are right that some people might want to get their NGOs registered to be on the right side of the law, to do things professionally, but not everybody have the patience or the resources to get this done. Or some might even get involved with, I don't want to use quack lawyers. If you don't get a lawyer that is experienced in this business, you might not be able to just get to the end of the process. Because I know my lawyer was encouraging me that we are on the right track. Give it time, give it time, give it time, give it time. Then all of a sudden, I wasn't even expecting it. I got an email. He sent it to me. We are good to go. Everything is approved. NGO is approved. So it's cumbersome. It might discourage some people. It might deter some people. It might slow down some people. But you need to persist. You need to persist because that is the right way to go.
Yeah, that's the right way to go.
That is the right way to go. You need to have it. Have your NGO. You have to have the law backing it. Even if you are spiritual about it as well, you have to have the law of the land backing what you're doing.
That is the point. That really you have to have the law of the land backing every move that you take.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
You know, obviously, there's a glut in the market, so to speak, especially with the, number of NGOs and such organizations managing widows and supporting victims of domestic violence. They have so many of them. Are there any controls in place for self-regulation, by these support organizations, apart from what government is doing?
I think the ensuring that everyone is fully registered with the government is a major regulatory step. Yeah, it's a major one. But like you said, there are still a lot that are still going on in the field. Yes. There are still a lot that you really don't even want to share. There are really a lot that you don't have. There are a lot that are not really genuine. Yes. There are lots that are using these people, these vulnerable people for selfish needs. Yes. For self whatever. I won't deny that. And being in the field as well, I get that reaction from people. Yes. That how we sure that you don't want to use it to get contracts. You don't want to use it to go and get money from government, or you don't want to use this to you just give the women some kind of food and you pocket everything that you get, some pittance, or you share some pictures everywhere. And are you sure you are doing it for these people? You won't blame such comments or feedback because people who are doing those things are really there.
So how do you control
So I really don't know how we can control that. I really maybe another step would be to really insist on this registration, certification, registration. I think that would be so that falls on government. So if you are registering this body, how are you monitoring those who are registered?
Yeah, that's the word.
Are you monitoring those who are not?
Supervision.
Supervision. Thank you, Ellen. Supervision. Are you checking these people? Are they registered?
Who they claim they are?
Are they who they claim they are? The resources they are getting, even if it's self-sponsored or they are getting resources from other bodies, are they using it genuinely for the purpose for which they got these resources? Are they really genuine? Okay. So I think I would like to call for more supervision. Yeah. More supervision, yes. I don't know how the government or the relevant bodies want to go about that, but I think we need to do supervision. I don't think I'm seeing anything about supervision currently. Okay. Nothing about supervision currently. So it's like open field or free for all. So those who are registered are there. Those who are not registered, they are all operating together.
Yes.
Really, there's no difference, except if for those who have the mind that, no, I want to do this the right way.
Yeah.
Those who don't want to do it the right way, they are still operating together with everybody. So you have...
So for me, apart from the passion and the experience that somebody has and say, okay, I'd like to make life better for another person, so that person doesn't go through, what I went through, especially when we look at the issue of widowhood in our environment in the African society. It's more of credibility and people believing that you really, really are called and you have all it takes, to give service in this very, very sensitive and important area. Once upon a time, there was an ambassador, Segun Olushola, of the Refugees Foundation many years ago. And he started talking about, taking care of refugees in the African, continent.
Space.
And we never knew that very soon we would have a semblance of refugees, in our environment. And there are scores of organizations, taking care of these people in different areas, health, counseling and all of that in the IDP camps all across Nigeria. And I believe that's what you also do. But coming, directly to what we're talking about, we've seen international affiliations playing a major role in the support for these organizations. Getting support, financial support, so technical support from foreign countries easily. And could you please give an insight into this? Is it everybody who says I am an NGO or I'm a support organization that freely accesses support, financially or otherwise, from international organizations?
I'll be very honest with you. I have not had any affiliations with international bodies, but I've heard of it. I've read about them online, and people also share pictures and things like that, but I've not had any personal experiences with them. And like I mentioned earlier, it is still falls back to, you use the word credibility. It falls back to that as well. What I've noticed so far is, I don't want to use the word, the person that first, maybe they make contact first, then they get contact with international bodies and all that. So I really don't know how they go about it, and I don't want to delve into that.
So you source your resources, your funding, your support from within?
Yes, currently it's like
which is also
90% self-sponsored.
Yes. Wow.
Currently it's about 90% self-sponsored, and the other 10% I get from few colleagues, few like-minded colleagues, and do I have any? I think they're mostly colleagues.
Yeah.
Yes, but 90% self-sponsored currently, and I am not complaining because I know what God told me, and I don't know what is His plan for tomorrow. I don't know what is His plan for tomorrow, and so I'm just taking it one day at a time.
Which means that if we look deep enough, we will find support within our shores.
Sure.
Without
Definitely.
having to go
Definitely,
international.
definitely,
However,
yes.
that doesn't take away from the importance of some of those well-established, international bodies that we all know about, who come in now and again.
For
help us.
collaborations.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So now, let's turn our attention to the widows themselves. What are the typical challenges they face upon, say, the demise of their spouses?
Yeah, I'm very passionate about that because I deal with that very regularly, even as last night. Wow. So, and it's very sad, very, very sad that most of the challenges that widows, and let's not forget widowers, widows and widowers, the first challenge they face is from their immediate family, their in-laws. That is the first challenge they face. Either way, it's from their in-laws. So currently I have a case of a widow who, before the man passed on, her husband passed on, they were living in the family house for years. The reason, I don't know. When the man passed on, the family asked the lady to leave the family house with her children. that they want to rent out the house, the room. So it starts with the family. I had another case of a widow when the husband passed on. She was living with the family accommodation, not like family house, but where she and her husband were living as a family.
Yeah.
And the family came and said she has to leave that house.
So
Before then, they were taking care of her, feeding and the children and everything. All of a sudden, they said she has to leave that premises as if she doesn't want to. I have to say it. If she doesn't want to continue serving the family idol.
Oh.
I am a Christian and I have to say it on air. She said she cannot continue because I think she's a Christian, but I don't know her background. But she said she cannot, because she couldn't do that. She was sent out and she was staying in the kiosk
so
with her children. So it's family.
Family first.
Yes, the immediate in-laws.
What other areas do they normally?
And accommodation. Accommodation.
Yeah.
And of course, feeding. School fees for the children who are now semi-orphans. School fees. Then even when they get somebody to pay for 1 year rent for them, that 1 year rent expires.
Very quickly.
So when it expires, so for those who are, remember that we're talking about widows or widowers who are less privileged. Not those who are privileged, they have a job going or they have a business going. Those are not people we are talking about. We're looking at a typical woman or man. Indigents, yes. Vulnerable. Maybe the woman was full-time housewife. And the man passed on. So she has to she has to empower herself. Either learn a trade or start a business. Then when the rent expires, maybe the husband has paid that year rent, had to pay that rent. Of course, when the school session ends, we are going to the next school session. You know, when the man passes on, you have people coming in.
Sure. Yeah.
Take this, take this, take this. But that dwindles off.
So it has to be managed.
Yes. So it dwindles off. Then so children's school fees will come in the next school year. Then their health.
Yes. I see this beyond just giving. I see it like at that point in time, either the woman, the widow, or the widower, it's prepared to begin life almost afresh. Because it's totally new.
It's a new
where
order,
the person is starting is a new order. Thank you, John. And you would have several people coming to you once they find out that, you have help available for them. I'd like to know, how do you determine who really needs help? Especially you're talking about the indigent people. I mean, especially in churches right now, at the end of service, some churches, you have packs of food, in the welfare department. And you will be amazed at the crowd. And I'm like, you don't look indigent. You don't look like you need this food. Allow the other people
to have it.
So in an environment such as, that we are greedy, everybody just wants to take. How do you determine who really is in trouble that needs help?
Absolutely. I agree, we are greedy. So like when we started intentionally, meeting intentionally, I meet people one-on-one.
Okay.
I don't just throw it open.
Okay.
I get somebody who knows you. That I know this woman to her house.
Yes.
Okay. I know the situation. I know when her husband passed on. So it's not like we're not looking at numbers. I am not looking at numbers. Okay. I'm looking at one by one case for now.
Peculiar.
And the number is increasing, but with that one-on-one, they know that you are looking for genuine people.
Yeah.
You are looking at people who have real needs. So that is how I identify the real ones. Then secondly, the focus should be on establishing somebody, not giving stipends.
Yes.
Establishing this woman or this man.
Yes.
What does she want to do? Okay, she's doing a trade now, right? But maybe the trade needs to grow. Or she's still wallowing in the self-pity of I'm a widow. So you can give the person something to start. Also, we have noticed that there are some that you set up, they run the petty trade down within a short while.
Yes.
They run it down within a short while.
So they need to be taught how to do
yes.
proper business planning. And
so right now we are channeling most of our efforts towards empowerment, training, empowerment, training. Not just having your monthly meetings and sharing rice or sharing semo or sharing akra. We are looking at channeling into capacity building. This woman that you have given rice today, she will come back tomorrow to ask for rice to feed her children.
Yes.
But what about when if you set up a business for her, a petty trade for her, and you teach her how to manage that business, so that she doesn't start eating into her profit before you know it, the business is down. I have some like that.
That's the whole, the whole idea of being intentional, which I said is a key word that you dropped in earlier on. And if you're intentional with the way you run your support organization, you definitely, will do a better job at it.
Yeah. Widows' problems, is what we're talking about. Madam, thank you so much for being a part of today's show.
Thank you.
Now, the problems of widows, they range from psychological to financial to spiritual and what have you. Kindly tell us how much the Nigerian social system, specifically the social system in Nigeria, how much has it helped in solving the widow's problem?
Thank you again, Helen. That's a very deep question. I know for a fact that there are not very many support systems for widows and widowers around us. We have a lot of focus on orphans. We have fewer support systems for widows and widowers, and with our culture, there's a lot that a widow or widower they go through. I don't want to mention cultures, but we all understand what we are saying. When a woman, her husband passes on, sometimes they'll say, maybe it's the woman that killed the husband. Or in some culture, if a woman passes on, they'll say it's her husband that killed her. Go and bring our daughter for us, or do this or do that before you can bury our daughter. So you have a lot around the widows and widowers that's psychological, spiritual, of course, financial, economical.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have enough right now that is focusing on those people intentionally, not like haphazardly, planned organizations that take care of the needs of these people, and their needs are diverse. Even just talking to them is something. So we have the counseling aspect of it, and that takes care of the psychological part. Because by the time they go through all those cultural challenges, those things that they go through after the spouse has passed on, it takes them a while for them to settle down and say, okay, I want to think about how I want to look after my children, if children are involved. It takes a while for them to get out of that and be able to focus on what's the next step.
Life.
And time doesn't wait for anyone.
Yes.
Time is going. Meanwhile, this widow or widower is trying to see how he or she can come out of that situation psychologically. You can see somebody smiling, but they're not okay inside.
Yeah, and sometimes you get stuck in that bubble.
Yes.
That may just start your own decline too.
Thank you. Until somebody comes in to pull you out of that state.
Yeah.
So I think we need more. We're not doing enough in that sector right now.
I tend to
like when I became more intentional about mine, people were saying that, so we have things like this, we have things like this, we have things like this, we have things like this. We are not very many. Widows are not, orphans are not that, domestic violence, you have a lot around that, but there's a lot around widows and widows that we are not really...
That hasn't been touched.
You have the stigma part of it, and it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yes.
I mean, the way
it's a lot.
With the picture you've painted, it really must be a lot.
Yes, it's a lot.
Now, I want to ask you something. Given our culture and traditions, which you've touched on a bit, and the structuring of the family system, the family unit, as so to speak. Don't you think the first place for widows and others seeking support should be the family?
That is the ideal thing. So our advocacy should really start from the family, the immediate family. What happens if somebody, a spouse passes on? What should be our support?
Yes.
Even your own siblings, because I don't just do outreaches like a crowd. I engage with them one-on-one.
One-on-one, yes.
Even if I don't engage with them during the outreach or after the outreach, I have their numbers. I engage with them, and the feedback you get is, I was speaking with one last night. She said when her husband passed on initially, her family, that is, she was talking about her siblings now,
family.
her immediate siblings, not even her in-laws, not even in-laws, her own siblings, that they were very forthcoming. But she said, but now if she calls them, they'll say, I hope no problem.
You're on your own now.
Thank you. So she's not really encouraged to go to them, and she has a medical case.
Oh dear.
She has an ongoing medical case that is really very touching, that she said she cannot, she's not encouraged to. I agree, they all have their own issues as well.
Yes.
So we need advocacy around the immediate family. Because if your immediate family cannot really support you,
where would you get help?
Yes.
Where?
So we need the immediate family, then of course the in-laws.
Okay.
The in-laws, or whether you say ex-in-laws. In-laws are in-laws.
In-laws are in-laws.
Yeah,
Yes.
so...
Okay. Well, that's where the support should start from.
Yes.
Unfortunately, not a lot comes from there. We're also looking at the fact that most support organizations seem to concentrate on urban areas. What are we doing? Don't you think that we should be looking at the interests of the widows and the widowers in the rural areas?
Helen, you hit the nail on the head, like they say. The real ones don't focus on the urban areas. We have a branch in Efron, Delta State. I am from there. So I reach out to my home place. And we hope to grow.
Yeah.
And I know a couple of people who are going into the rural areas. You don't see much of them in the urban side. So I agree that we have more focus on the urban area right now, but those who are really passionate about what they are doing, they will not focus on the urban areas alone. Because in the rural areas, even where they cannot even speak your English, they are there. And they have similar needs. Whether they can speak English or they cannot speak English, the needs are the same. The challenges are the same. It may be even more.
Yes.
Maybe even more in the rural areas. So we need to decamp or deconcentrate and move a bit, de-emphasize, yes, and move a bit into the rural areas and have more impact there and show more love there. Show more love, because those ones there, they really don't. If you move into the rural areas, you are really being more intentional. You are really being more deliberate. You are being more sacrificial.
Yeah.
You are moving out of your comfort zone.
And
You are
really,
moving out of your comfort zone.
that really is it. You know,
Comfort zone.
Yes, you're
Once
moving out of
upon
your
a
comfort
time,
zone.
that was across board, like the special projects or the pet projects of most governors' wives. You know, I really don't know how much of the lives of the rural women and the men, or widows and widowers, that they touched. But I know that once upon a time, that was the in thing, you know, for the first ladies in the States to
To
pet
pick on,
projects,
and it
made
for
an
widows
impact,
and for orphans.
And it made an
all of that.
impact. They always look forward to things like that. So it gives them hope. Even if we say, okay, it's politically motivated, but those people are the grassroots that you are reaching, you are touching. It's a positive impact. It's something they look forward to.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm trying
We're almost
to
winding down.
I'm trying to, kind of put all of this together, and I see that it's even wider than we even imagined. But let's quickly look at something. You see, in the absence of a robust social welfare system, also coupled with inadequate training, right? We seem to have created a gap in the system. You know, if we had all of that, we would have been able to, close up that gap and maybe achieve a lot more. How much do you think this may have helped, in covering us as a community if we had a more organized social welfare system?
And how can we go about that?
Yeah, how can we go about that?
Very quickly.
Please.
Yeah, that is like revamping our system.
Yes.
Okay.
We want to be like the US. Want to be like the UK social system.
Yes.
The welfare
And
system.
the social welfare system, and that involves a lot. That involves a lot. So we can start from the local government. In this local government, we have departments we call you have a department that take care of the rural area. I don't know what they call them.
Yes.
Those groups that take care of rural areas and take care of support groups.
Yes.
We can start from there, put the registers of support groups together, and they can have a meeting. They can start from there. They can be trained. They can have a brainstorming session and put some things in place and be trained, and they move out.
Wow.
So that when you, an individual who is interested in helping, gets into
You
an
know where to
environment
go,
like
yes.
that, you know where to go. You know,
yes.
There's a list of
Yes.
places
Yes.
and people to reach out to.
And that will also sift out those who are not eligible, who are not real, who don't have genuine needs, or those who are just greedy, and those who are not qualified, so
And
to
see
say.
how you just brought out the solution. I hope other people are thinking like this.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Apostle
Ellen.
Eunice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
We really wish that we had more time to
Yes.
find out your experience. You're a testifier. You went through this.
Yes.
And it was part of what made you to start this organization. Maybe another opportunity will afford us that window to learn more about you, when your husband passed and what actually triggered, for you to set up this organization.
If you will have
for
me.
today.
If you will have
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
standing up and delivering, succor
She's sitting down.
to, to a lot of people. So,
Thank you. God bless you.
Amen.
Thank
Up
you.
next.
God bless you.